Hello all. In this PT tip, I'm going to discuss flare-ups versus new concussions and why flare-ups seem to happen so frequently. Let's say an incident has occurred that has significantly worsened your symptoms. Quite often, the incident may be quite minor. Prior to a concussion, such an incident would have been hardly noticed, or if noticed, shrugged off. At other times, an individual will have a bigger incident. For example, your head is struck by an overly rambunctious pet. The question that immediately arises is this a flare-up or a new concussion incident? Why does this happen so easily now? What the heck is a flare-up anyways? There's no accepted definition of what constitutes a flare-up versus a new concussion incident. So, for better or worse, you're left with my take on these questions. One observation I've made over the years is that the strength of such incidents does not seem to be a good predictor of the flare's severity or how long it will last. I've seen clients who have experienced a major nosedive in their condition from seemingly minor events. Other individuals have recovered quickly from what I was afraid was a new concussion. To summarize, if the significant increase of symptoms and functional loss lasts less than 4 weeks, then I personally define the incident as a flare-up. On the other hand, if longer than 4 weeks, I tend to think more it's likely a new concussion event. Practically, this means going into protocol. This protocol is simple and consists of just 2 things. First, returning to more rest in the first 24 to 48 hours. Second, on a gradual basis and as tolerated, returning to activities. If it turned out that there was no new concussion, this merely delayed their recovery a bit. If, on the other hand, they had a new concussion, well then, the right course of action was taken. So, a win-win situation. So why does this seem to happen so frequently to the concussed? I believe it's because both concussions and post-concussive symptoms lead to a decrease in their reaction time, poor balance leading to more jarring near falls and worse actual falls, changes in the person's midline perception leading to more bumping into things, and any number of visual dysfunctions, for example, decreased depth perception and peripheral vision. So what is a flare-up? One of your brain's main reasons for being is to protect you and, by extension, itself. If it becomes re-irritated, the brain often seems to unconsciously overreact. In anticipation of tissue damage, I believe it revs up its healing and defensive systems. This brings back many of the person's initial symptoms like fatigue, fogginess, light and sound sensitivity. In addition, it does a number on your emotions, lowering your mood and making you much more anxious. In time, the brain discovers there was no real tissue damage, and so, metaphorically, sends the inflammatory troops back to the barracks. The key to recovery is not to ignore these incidents, that just reinforces the system's hypervigilance, but to gently, gradually, and very persistently re-educate your nervous system. In the next of this series, I will discuss neuroplasticity, why it's not the magic it is often portrayed as, but nevertheless, how understanding it better can speed your recovery. Keep on healing, February 7th, 2025, revised October 15th, 2025.